Hello friend, and welcome to my very first bullet journaling video. I am so excited you're here. For 2022, I decided to use a B5 sized notebook from Archer and Olive, and I decided to go with the linen cover this year. And I'm really excited to see how it wears as I live in this notebook throughout the year. To get started here, I made this little craft paper booklet off camera, and I'm attaching it using the Elmer's Craft Bond Extra Strength Glue Stick. This little booklet has my journal's name on the front, and then inside on the left side here I have my grid spacing guide so that I can flip it out and reference it when I'm making my spreads later, and on the right side will be my key. So I'm just going through and inking all of the lines for my grid spacing guide. And then I'll go through and pen in the actual spacing guide, so the useful part of this page. This notebook has pages that are 46 dots tall and 32 dots wide. Now I'll pen in the title for this page. As well as the title for the key. Now I'll pen in my first name in the "This Book Belongs To" line. I'm Amber, by the way. Nice to meet you. And I'll go over and fill out the key. And I missed a couple things, so this will look different in a little while. Now I'll flip back to the front cover of that little booklet and start penning in the name of my journal. And this journal's name is Olivia, because it means peace. And I really hope to find some peace this year. I'll erase all the pencil markings where I've penned already before going through and loosely filling in the block letters. The craft paper I used for this booklet insert was a little thin, so I had to double up, and it left me with this kind of flappy edge on the inside. I know I'll be moving this around quite a bit, so I want to make sure it's nice and secure, so I'm just taping down the inner edges to the front cover. Alright, moving right along, we're going to go ahead and pen in all of the spreads, and then we'll go back and decorate all of them at once. This is my 2022 title page and my index. So to start out, I'm just penning in the outline for 2022, and then I'll loosely fill it in just like the first few pages. First, I'll get sidetracked and really want to use these new stamps that I just got. So I'll go over, draw my line, and stamp in index. I'll erase my guidelines and then actually get to filling in that 2022. Next up, we've got the future log, so I'll keep my stamps out and fill in the title up here. And then I'll start drawing out the sections for the months. and then the smaller boxes for the calendars within each month. Next, I'll take this little strip of tea-stained paper, write out the names of each of the months, cut them out, and paste them in at the top of each section. And this was a sticky nightmare, so I'll just let you zoom right through it, because I wish I could have. Alright, with that out of the way, it's time to limber up and get to the real work. And I'll zoom you through this too, because it's the worst part. And despite counting like 4 different times, I messed up, so here we get to see a couple different ways to fix that. I tried Archer and Olive's acrylograph, I used some Bic whiteout tape, and then I ended up covering 2 whole months with scraps of paper because they were just too much to try to fix. With all of my boo-boos hidden from sight, I'll go ahead and sketch in a little quote here. I decided I wanted a little more warmth on this page, so I'll glue in this piece of craft paper and then pen in the quote on top of that. This is a quote I thought would be really nice to come back to each month. It says, "Everything will be okay in the end. If it's not okay, it's not the end." Let's clean up those pencil markings and trim away the extra paper, and then we'll keep her moving. Alright, this next spread will be kind of like a highlight reel. So I'll have a space for each month, and in each space I'll put a picture of something that makes me smile that month. I would like for this to be a highlight reel, but I'm historically really terrible at taking nice photos each month, so we'll see how it goes, but at the very least I'll have a spread full of things that make me smile. With my boxes all drawn out, I'll go ahead and write in the month names. And then I'll stamp in the title. I would like the word smile to be quite a bit bigger than my stamps, so I'll use my stamp set as a font guide and then sketch it in. bit of cleanup, and then that's about it for this spread. I'll put this piece of scrap paper between the pages to make sure that my ink doesn't transfer over and ruin all of my hard work. And we have finally reached the last spread for this bullet journal setup. This page will be my goals for 2022. So I'm attaching this ripped piece of craft paper, and I'll write in my title up there. And my goals page title is more of a prompt. It says, in 2022, I would be thrilled if. I find phrasing goals in this way to be a little less daunting and more freeing to allow myself to work towards those goals without beating myself up over them. Ooh, yay. Okay, we're to the fun part now. So for the design of my journal, I was thinking of this sort of scrapbook, neutral aesthetic. So I'm going to go ahead and cut out all these images that I printed off. And this is way more images than I'll use today, but I'll just keep these with all of my other paper so that I can pull from them and kind of draw inspiration from them. Now I'll agonize over this collage layout for way too long to then abandon it and come back later. I kind of like the bold, simple look of this title page. The future log could use a picture maybe in one of the months, but then that leaves that month kind of useless to put events into, so that's not really helpful to me. And then the highlight reel spread is going to have a lot of photos on it anyway, so I felt like adding more would maybe be too busy. But I felt like it still needed something, so I ended up adding this little washi tape band. Okay, so now we've let the idea of this collage simmer in our brains a little bit, so I think I'm comfortable with it. I'll cut out a piece of tea-stained paper for a sort of anchor and then start gluing them in. Here I'm trying to decide which washi tape looks the best, but I don't really like any of them. So I'll just move on and start the collage on our last spread. I'll add this torn craft paper opposite the first piece we laid down, and I'll use my trusty Metro card to lay that flat. And then it's time to agonize over or brainstorm another collage layout. You know, tomato. This scrapbook style decoration is totally new for me, and I usually like to really plan out all of my spreads and all of my artwork, so it's kind of hard for me to just throw all caution or planning to the wind, but I did my best by very deliberately laying out each photo, taking a picture of it, and then placing them down exactly where I had laid them out. But I'm so happy with how both of these collages turned out, so I'm not sure how much haphazard scrapbooking you'll see from me. Okay, let's admire our work, shall we? This is Olivia. She has a little flip-out grid spacing guide and a key, a nice title page to ring in 2022, an index to keep track of all of my spreads, a future log to keep track of all of my events for the year, a highlight reel to keep track of all of my favorite things, and some goals to keep me on track. Thank you so much for joining me in setting up Olivia for this year. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I had an absolute blast making it. Please like and subscribe, and we'll see you soon. Bye, friend.